Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I want to tell you about something that happened to me a few years ago here in East Carbon. A neighbor of mine there was a neighbor of his that had all kinds of mental problems. There was activity nonstop on that block. Just nonstop, you know. You know what I'm referring to. And I was working on my house one day outside. We had already, ripped down 4 trees, fixed the whole house, on and on and on, working on my house here. And I hear this banging, bam, 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 bam. And I go around to the front of my house and I see across to the left the neighbor I thought was working on his porch or something. I didn't understand because all I heard was boom, boom, boom. Then I realized it was another neighbor beating on his door with a hammer. Boom, boom, his front door. And I screamed to him, "Hey, what the hell are you doing? Get away from that door. From my neighbor's door." And he says, my cat is in there, or my kids, or something. And obviously he was out of his mind. And my neighbor comes running out, hard of hearing, retired fella. Says, "What's going on? What's going on?" And I said, hey, come here. Well, he walks right up to the guy who's holding the hammer, who was just beating on his door with a hammer. And I said, "Come here. Come over here. You need to come over here." So he comes over. I explained to him what happened. That I yelled to him. I stopped this guy, whatever. He's standing there. My neighbor then calls the police. Somebody's violently banging on his door. And guess who shows up? Guess. Take a wild guess. The chief of police, SAMMY LEONARD, shows up. I'm watching it. I'm like, wow, look at all this. This was pretty wild. This was a wild incident. And here comes the chief of police. I'd never even met the guy before. I had no idea who he was. So the neighbor explains to him what had just transpired and goes to the other neighbor's house and physically walks up to him, takes the hammer out of his hand. He might have dropped it. I don't know. I was pretty far away. As you can see, I wear glasses. But the guy runs off. Boom, gone. They don't arrest him. They don't arrest him. He was beating on the door with a hammer. And then a month later, the guys, they're still neighbors. We're still going, what the hell just happened and whatever. No arrest here. Not important enough to arrest or charge a ticket or whatever. I don't know. The guy was living there the very next day. He was gone, whatever. He took off for a minute and came back, and here we go again. The very month, then he throws a Molotov cocktail through the same neighbor's window. here comes another violent attack. And then I think it's an issue for Sammy and the officers in this town. And I believe even Price showed up, because now he escalated it up to something that, thank God it went out on the guy's friggin' table, for God's sakes. But then they arrest him. Then they arrest him. So while I was at my store discussing dog poot with Sammy Leonard, I explained to him, listen, sir, you didn't even arrest the guy when my neighbor was getting beat on the door with a hammer, a flippin' hammer, and you're bothering me over dogs? You're bothering me? You're bothering me. I'm building a store. You're bothering me. You don't arrest people that flip other people's neighbors' doors with hammers. Hammers. So he said, yes, we did arrest him. Yes, we did. I said, no, you didn't. You're a liar. You are a liar. And then he swore at me. This professional bald-headed clown swore at me, said the F word. I actually made him apologize when he wrote me that ticket the following day. A retaliatory ticket the following day by the chief of police, because I called him a liar. A liar. He is a liar. He is a bold-faced liar. So you could beat on somebody's door with a hammer, and you can run off and whatever and do whatever around this town, but don't build a store. Don't walk around with your dogs, get retaliatory tickets for calling him a bold-faced liar, which was he is. That's exactly what he is. And everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. How ironic. And then the very next day, I start getting letters for my trailer and, notices of you gotta, basically, here you go. Don't run around with hammers and, unless you're fixing a house, then you're going to run around with a hammer, but not beating on somebody else's door, let alone called a liar. Because he is. That's why I've been in court over dog food since August 16th of 2024. I have been in court. Let me say it again. I have been in court for supposedly not picking up dog poop since August 16th of 2024 by the chief of police, because I called him a liar, of which he is. Of which he is. Of which he is. He's a bull-faced liar. And I'll call it to him again. Because he is a liar. Because he is a liar. Escalate, fabricate, retaliate. The new motto of policing, for sure, in this town. Escalate, retaliate, or escalate, fabricate. They just tell people, tell the judges this, write it on a piece of paper. And retaliate. Ten months. 10 months. 10 months. Seeing card. I better get a hairdresser for my cameo coming up. Shoot. Have a great day.